on Facebook and YouTube. Let me see here. Just setting up because I got two cameras going here. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Hello. Just waiting to see if anyone turns up. It's Friday night, almost 5 o'clock. Is it night at 5 o'clock? I don't know. Anyway, it's Saturday afternoon. There you go. Okay, so welcome to the live. Thanks for joining me. Whoops. So I got a couple things going on here. Okay, so while we're waiting for people to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. It's actually quite mild today, but very rainy. So, and we did have the sun out for a while, actually. It's one of those days you can't go out without your umbrella. So where are you from? I've got someone on YouTube too. YouTube's the best place to watch these lives, actually, because that's my smallest platform. So I get the least amount of questions on there. Facebook isn't too bad, but Instagram and TikTok get really crazy. From mild and rainy Prince George. Hi, Katie. Could you hear the concert? No, I wasn't in downtown last night. When I was driving out, because I live downtown near where the concert was, and when I was driving out, it was pretty crazy. But yeah, Costco is right near BC Place, and I went to Costco the other morning, like Tuesday morning. It was unbelievable. Fences up everywhere, so that's a big deal. She brings a lot of money into the city. So, okay, that was obviously I was talking about the Taylor Swift concert, so which I didn't go to. Okay, I would have loved to have gone. I just didn't think ahead. Anyway. I'm from Rocky, Queensland, Rockhampton. I'm also Australian, so they call it Rocky over there. Okay. I love your videos and podcasts. Can you share any stories from your time living in Australia, and what was it like raising your family in Queensland? Very interesting. Yeah, that's where my kids are born and raised. And I would say there's a couple of differences there that I'd actually preferred. And but I didn't really raise my kids here, so it's kind of hard to, but I know that it was different when we moved back here. One is that Australians don't tend to brag. There's not this one-upmanship stuff that goes on over there. So I can remember when I'd join mom groups, and we'd all be laughing at what horrible mothers we were and kind of bragging about how awful we were. So it was a lot more like self-deprecating humor with parenting. So I feel that it was a lot less pressure and a lot more relaxed. So that was my experience there in Australia. And also the other thing that I really missed when I moved back to Canada with my kids was here they don't encourage any parent involvement. Like, it's rare. You can go to like field trips and the odd thing. But over there, pretty much every day I was sitting in a class supporting a teacher, just all volunteering. Australian culture relies very heavily on parent involvement. And I think the reason is that Australian parents, they just sit in the back of the room and shut up and they wait and they do what the teacher says. North Americans wouldn't be as good at that. They would have opinions. So yeah, we just sit back there. We're just there to support the teacher. That's all. And those are two things I'm really grateful that I raised my kids there, to be honest, for those two reasons. Because I love being involved in the schools. And I thought, all this self-deprecating humor as parents, I thought was great. Nice to see. Sad to miss your last regularly scheduled live on Thursday. Yeah. Welcome, Tabitha. I'm not doing any more scheduled lives for now. We've got a lot of stuff going on right now, and we're very careful. Just my daughter and I, we work together, and we don't want to grow the business too big. Like, what I mean is we just want to keep it the two of us. And it was just getting to be too much for me to handle with all my coaching clients, and I'll still do lives, but just when I've got time. And, but yeah, so I'll still be doing lives for sure. But yeah, the podcast is really taking off. So we're going to be doubling up on that. And the thing is too, is we're here to serve you the way you want us to serve you. Like, if, you tell us what you want from us. Do you want a book? Do you want more podcasts? You tell us what you want. And if we did do a book, we are talking to people about it. We're thinking about it. We're working towards that potentially. So, but if we were to write that, do you want it on toddlers or older kids or teenagers, or do you just want the role of leaders, parenting leaders? So it's all up to you. yeah, the book is, yeah, we're talking to people right now. So it's overwhelming, to be honest, because we're very careful. We don't do anything that we're not comfortable that we can manage, and just, because we've got to have work-life balance too. Anyway, quick story about my granddaughter. She's 11 months old, and the other day I was looking after her, and and I thought, I wonder how she'd react if I stopped going ooh and ah over everything she does. So she had her back to me, and she was up on the couch doing something, and I just went silent for a minute. I didn't say anything. You should have seen her face. She turned around, looked at me like this. Like, why are you not idolizing every movement I make? You missed that. I moved a centimeter, my finger, and you didn't even comment on it. I thought, wow. That was so cute. Oh God, she's adorable. And then when she is doing something, then she looks at me, she keeps looking at me like this, like all flirty. Okay, that's enough grandparent stories. Sorry about that. I got to do it. It's the law. Okay, this is April. You obviously asked two. There we go. April, where's your first question? You must have had a first question. I'm going back, maybe not, because you talked about the attitude. Oh, it wasn't a continuation. It was a full question. Sorry about that. Okay. Is it in the attitude department when my kid tells me to go away, leave me alone, or don't talk to me? I would go, yippee, I'm going to go write a book or read a book. Sorry. I'm going to go read a book. I wouldn't care. Like, they're just trying to upset you. That is manipulation. That's attitude. I don't address that stuff. Go away. Great. I'm going to go read my book. Yay. It's exactly what my mother would have said too. Yay, I'm going to go read a book. Yay. I would have gone, oh, that didn't work. It's from Christy. My oldest just graduated in Florida. I was in the classroom since he was at kindergarten, involved at school, but not in classroom and middle. Same with my younger till COVID. Some at school after COVID, but he was in middle. But yeah. What happened when my son in Australia went to high school, then I got involved in teen mentor programs, but I never was in his class ever again. Yeah, it was just me volunteering with other kids, with teenagers. But they're involved. Parent involvement, I don't know what it's like now, but parent involvement was huge in Australia, in Queensland where we lived. Huge. The school used to say we couldn't run without parents, like, because we're very, very involved. So it was fantastic. Do you have another email? The hello email address wouldn't work. It triggered a spam response in my email and locked me out. I was just wondering if there was an alternate email address to use. Yeah, you can email my daughter, Amy Bunnage, at BratBusters.com. So it's the same last name, Bunnage. Just look it up on our website. Her email address won't be on there, but her name, Amy Bunnage, at BratBusters.com is her email. I'm going to be getting to I do flip through to make sure there's nothing really important, but I've just had one heck of a few days. So tonight, I'm planning on getting to all my emails tonight, but I have been looking through them. And also, if you're waiting for me to schedule something, I take all the emails in order, so you're not missing out, right? I don't schedule anything over the weekend anyway, so this is for my coaching clients. The entire problem is consistency. What entire problem? You responding to someone, Debbie? Or was I talking about consistency? I don't listen to myself. So, it was agony. I was trying to listen to one of our podcasts the other day. Agony. I cannot listen. I'm sure you're all the same. It's agony listening to yourself. So I couldn't do it. Because I wanted to listen, because it's the repertoire between my daughter and I. It's the chatter between us is what I was after. But it's mostly me talking. And I thought, yeah, I can't take this. It's very hard to listen to yourself. A book of Lisa Encyclopedia, LOL, all ages, thousands of pages. Yeah, we've got some really interesting ideas for this. Really interesting ideas. And it's going to be, I think, I love coaching. It's my favorite thing to do. That's where I'm at my best, is in coaching. I freaking love it. I literally work up a sweat sometimes when I'm doing coaching. I get so emotionally involved in coaching, and it'll play off of a lot of stuff that comes up in coaching. And like, there's a lot of parents. It's very rare that I'll get a problem with just one family. It's usually when a problem comes up, it's usually 20 parents that are going through it. So yeah, everyone seems to think that they're the only ones going through this stuff, which I find fascinating. Yeah, that you think you're the only one struggling with potty training or attitude, or kids slapping you across the face when they're 5 because they're mad at you. Lots of parents go through this stuff, okay? You're not alone. Don't isolate yourself with this, but be careful who you tell, because some people can be real snotty about that. Oh, my child would never do that. You know, who wants to hear that? Yeah, my kid hit me right across the face the other day. Ooh, oh, my child would never do that. Be careful who you tell. It's like someone, my daughter and I almost commented on it. Someone was pouring their heart out on one of the platforms. I can't remember where. We're pouring their heart out about what they're going through with their kid, just acting out. And someone said, well, all you have to do is I just say, I don't appreciate that. It hurts my feelings. My daughter and I could have gone through the screen and strangled that person. What a snotty thing to say. That's all you have to do. Yeah, if I could have blocked her, I would have. I guess we couldn't. That would seem too obvious. But anyway, yeah, that's not someone I want making comments. And I doubt very much. You know, those are the types that they'll have their moments. Something will happen, and they'll have to eat their words. Okay, this is good, Heather. Oh, sorry, I'm laughing, but I hear this stuff all the time. And they're just little kids, right? I know it's hard to see the humor when you're going through it. I get it. My almost 3-year-old, when told no, throws a tantrum, but what I don't know how to handle is him kicking and running after me to bite me. He's like a pit bull. I'm literally running from him all the time so he doesn't hurt me. Do I just ignore like I'm doing now and just run from him? No, I would restrain him. I would turn him around and hold him from behind here and here. And hold him down low. Don't hold him up high where he can bite. Hold him down low and say no biting, and stay very, very calm. Then let him go. When he comes at you again, you are bigger. He's 3, okay? When he's 8 years old, it's a bit different. But at 3, I would turn him around again, say no biting. And then after he's calmed down, then like I would literally have no hurting other people on the behavior board is his rule. Then once he's calmed down, I would say, let's go to the board. Here's your consequence. So yeah, you want to get control of that now, because he's only 3. If you don't manage that personality that he's got going on right now at 3, you don't want to hire me when he's 13. Okay. So yeah, he's still very malleable. You can fix that. Hi from Forster, New South Wales, Australia. I don't know where Forster is. My son was born in Sydney, New South Wales. Where is Forster? Oh, okay. We would have driven through it, but I don't remember. Terry, I remember. Where's it? Oh, yeah, we would have driven. Oh, very close to it. When we moved from Sydney to Brisbane, we moved with a 5-month-old baby, 2 cars, and a golden retriever. So, and we took the coast road. We didn't want to take the interior road, just because I felt that the coast road would be more populated. Just felt a bit safer because we felt kind of vulnerable with a baby and a dog. You know what I mean? Beautiful coast there. Yeah, Taylor Swift had her first concert last night. I wasn't around. I live near there where the concert was, and it was a zoo hopping like for days beforehand. They're blocking everything off. There's all this really weird equipment, like real fancy looking equipment, like big, huge trailers. And it was interesting. Okay. This is Roxanne. I have had such success with the ignoring and attitude. My 14-year-old loves to manipulate and be arrogant about things and make threats. It was hard to put aside my feelings. It's not easy. but it has made such a difference. It has been a struggle. Yeah, you got to keep going and going and going. I always say with teenagers, you can either be right or you can be happy. They know they're wrong, by the way. When they're arguing with you and when they've got that snotty attitude, they don't feel good about themselves. They may look like they do, but they don't. Their self-esteem is in the toilet when they're treating you like that. So don't add fuel to that fire, because you're ruining their self-esteem and also your feelings. So just say, okay, well, we'll discuss it later, or right you are, or whatever, just let it go. It is a struggle. I do remember once, oh no, I probably should talk about this. No, I tell a lot more in coaching. Yeah, I made the mistake once of saying something. Saying something that I knew was adding fuel to the fire. And sure enough, the fire, kind of poofed up when I did so. But yeah, it felt good. No regrets. So we're all human. It's not about being perfect. It's about being accountable, doing a pretty darn good job, but also being vulnerable and human, okay? If you try and come across like you're perfect, you're doing it wrong. Okay. I know this isn't parenting per day, you mean per se, but sometimes I don't know how to continue to stay calm. 4 kids, oh my goodness. Well, I wouldn't know how to stay calm with 4 kids either. 4 kids, almost 2 to 9. 2 boys, 2 girls, all very high energy and loud, so loud. Playing, I'm fine. Yeah, loud playing, there's not much you can do about that. You don't want to discourage that. Playing, I'm fine with, but the constant fights. How do I get that under control and stay positive? You pick the ones that fight and single them out. Like what I mean is you split two on one side of the room and 2 on the other side of the room or the house or whatever. The 2 that are less likely to fight. I would suggest it would be probably the oldest and the youngest would be okay. And then the 2 middles, that's a disaster usually. Whichever 2 are most likely to fight, split them up and have them, to separate sides of the room. You can literally even put tape down a room and say, you stay on that side today and you stay on that side today. But if you're going to put tape down the center of a room, you have to put a double line. You can't just do one, because they could easily say, oh, he was over there. It's easier to spot who's doing it wrong when there's a foot between the 2 lines. So if you're going to put a line down the room and split the room in half, do 2 lines 1 foot apart, just with masking tape or painter's tape. Just split them up for a while. They usually don't want to be split up. They usually learn to get along. Also, when you've got kids who fight, there's a lot of different ways of dealing with this. But when you've got kids who fight, never do one-on-one time with them. It builds resentment and more hatred. So if you're going to have fun with your kids, do it with all of them together. Maybe the 2-year-old doesn't matter so much, but the other 3. So yeah, it is hard. I'm not saying any of this is easy. I never have. But getting respect is hard work. But once you've got it, maintaining it is pretty easy. But you got to work for that. I worked my butt off to get respect with kids, my own and other people's kids. I worked hard for that. I earned it. You got to earn respect. You can't demand it. You got to command it. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. So my son, daughter, husband, and myself all need to be in separate rooms. You're probably better off just to get 4 houses, and you could each have your own house. That's probably a good idea. Yeah. Because no one would be fighting, would they? I've got some clients who would think that's a pretty darn good idea. And a lot of my job, I'm not a marriage counselor, but believe me, there's a lot of that in what I do. Because I got to get those parents on the same page. They don't have to be the same. They don't both have to be leaders, but they have to support each other. So that's not always easy. Sometimes I'll tell clients, some of them will just spend the whole session fighting and me sitting back watching. So sometimes I'll intervene. Other times I say, you just wasted that whole session just fighting. And so it happens. But kids can bring out the worst in you. And some of them will say, and I'll say, did you get along before kids, or just were you fighting after kids? Usually they'll say it's after kids, sometimes not. So that's a bit harder. But yeah, so I say, yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone. Kids can bring out the worst in you because you get so frustrated that you start blaming the other person for the kid's behavior. And then you get mad at each other and all that. So it's very common. Welcome to our SHOT show. Oh, I see. Okay. I get you. Okay. This is Rosie S. on YouTube. Any advice on what to do at bedtime? When I walk out of my daughter's room, my 6-year-old always cries so loud. Now my 4-year-old is doing the same thing, and she's never done that before. Walk out of my 6-year-old daughter's room. My 6-year-old walk out of my daughter's room. I don't quite understand whose room you're in. Are they in the room together? I don't quite understand that, but I do have, if you look at the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds, there's a whole bedtime routine in there. So you might want to check that out. It's a whole system. It's in 2 parts, how you get them to bed, then how you keep them there. Keeping them there is the hard part, by the way. Although that's not always true. I've got someone, a client right now, and they're struggling with getting them to bed. So that happens too. Actually, I got a couple of clients doing that. So, but usually it's keeping them in bed that's hard. I wasn't able to take on any new clients last week. Sorry about that. But my existing clients, all the ones that I thought were going to be finishing up their last session, I think most of them, they re-signed again. They signed up for more sessions. So that's why, because I know I was promising last week I was going to be able to get back to you about coaching. So if you're waiting, I will get to you. But yeah, just that's what happened. A lot of people re-sign, right? So, and they always get first priority. But I'm going to count how many clients I've got right now. I might be able to take another 1 or 2 over the weekend. So we'll see. I got to do that. I'm going to do that tonight. I'm backed up. I'm going to get to everything tonight. So that happens. That happens. But you know, if I haven't got back to you, you're all in a queue and I get to first come, first serve anyway. So although with coaching, not always, in that I like to mix up ages. But right now, I've got a really good balance of ages right now. So I'm not as defined. Sometimes I'm just looking for parents with teenagers because I haven't got any, or little ones. But yeah, now I've got a pretty good balance right now. So any age I'm taking on right now. Okay. Actually, what time is it? Oh, I got to move over to Instagram now if you want to follow me over there. If not, check out the link. I don't even think I introduced myself on this live, didn't I? I just started yabbering on about the Taylor Swift concert. Anyway, I didn't go, but it's crazy downtown. I live downtown. Okay, so I'm going to hop over to Instagram now. I'm on YouTube the whole time I'm doing my lives. And check out BratBusters.com. That's my website. And look out for imposters. There's a whole bunch of imposters out there copying me right now. And some of them are taking money and then not delivering anything. So just make sure you go to BratBusters.com. That's me. The link above. So that's the only thing I have. I only have BratBusters.com. I'm not under any other names. So it's frustrating for me, but we can't go around shutting down all the imposters. It's impossible. So anyway, check out the link above or my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my boot camp course for toddlers, my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into coaching one-on-one with me. And anyway, happy parenting, and I'm hopping over to Instagram, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. Bye now. I'm talking to you at YouTube now. What's frustrating about those imposters is that people realize that those people aren't delivering anything. So then they search around, they find me, and then they get mad at me for not delivering. Wasn't me. So I tell them, check your PayPal, check your credit card. It wasn't me. So yeah, it causes a lot of problems. But that's why if you just go to BratBusters.com, that is me. So. But, I've got a lot of followers right now, and people are going to copy you. It's just the reality. Just the way it is. Okay, so I usually wait till I get about 100 people on Instagram before I get going on here. Okay. Oh, I don't let anyone in on my lives. I only did it once. I won't go on about it, but it's a disaster. If you, the OG, I am the original. This is me. I am me. But yeah, it's frustrating. Okay, so let's get going. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach, a mom, and I'm also a grandmother. If you want to look at the link above or check out BratBusters.com, that's my website. You can see my free behavior board, my boot camp course for toddlers, my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. By the way, 3 to 12, that's when you're at the height of your leadership. That's when they want to please you. All their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. 3 to 12. I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea. And then also you can look into one-on-one coaching with me. I've got a wait list, but I'll hopefully get to it soon. It says it has been busy. That glass better have whiskey. I don't drink really. I had a glass of wine last weekend, had a 2-day hangover. I don't get sick or anything. I just did not feel well. So yeah, I can't seem to drink anymore. Never been much of a drinker anyway, but yeah, I'm not good at it. Is it okay to lock children in cupboards for 30 minutes? Well, legally, of course I have to say no. I want to say something funny, but no, of course not. Just purchased the toddler course. Well, good luck with that. The toddler course is more of a reactive course. The 3 to 12-year-old is a whole procedure over 5 weeks. But with toddlers, you're more just reacting to whatever they come up with. Yeah, you never know with toddlers. They're all quite unique. How to create independence in highly attached toddlers. Well, I'll tell you what I did with my daughter. She was glue. She just wanted to be with me constantly. She was a real mommy's girl. And the first time I started separating from her was when I used to work out. Well, I still work out every day, but I used to work out when my kids are little too. So I would drop her off at the gym daycare. And I always act like I'm kind of tough, but she wasn't a crier ever. She never tantrumed or anything. She was just easygoing little kid. Anyway, so I felt really bad because she would just be, and they said she never moved. She just sat in the corner and just looked sad, but she didn't cry or anything. So I did find this gym, and I used to actually work there too. As I used to teach aerobics there at one time. And I knew this gym, and they had like a glass wall between the aerobics room and the daycare, so she could see me. So like if I was up on stage teaching or if I was in the class, she could see me. So I did do that, but I didn't not go because of that. I knew she wanted to be with me, but you gotta, it's not a compliment to you, by the way, if your kids are super attached to you. You're not doing them any favor by not trying to cut that cord a bit, because it's not good for them to be that dependent upon you emotionally all the time. So anyway, I did go to the gym all the time. And then she was 3 and I took her to dance class. And it was this dance studio. And I was in the room, but I was up sitting on the bleachers with the other moms. And they were all 3, just trying to learn how to dance and all this stuff. And she never cried or anything, but she had this sad look on her face and she was all pouty. And when she'd look over at me, because I was trying to push her to be more independent, when she looked over at me, this is what she saw. That's exactly what my mother would have done too. Like, in other words, suck it up. I'm right here. So I didn't cater to it. And then she joined everything. She's a super joiner. To this day, she's 30 now. She still joins everything. You should see her schedule. She works with me. She's my partner in this business. Hard to keep up to her, I'll tell you. What to do when my kids say they can't do things when they really can't get dressed or get themselves a drink? Well, I don't know how old they are, because I'd have a very sarcastic remedy if they were 5 and over. The next time they want something, you know how you couldn't do that? I can't do this. I can't get that food out. I can't, I would kind of use sarcasm. But if they're really little, you can't do that. They say they can't do it, then I would just do it for them. And then I'd say, well, it took a lot longer for me to help, so now we can't do this or that. So it'd be a consequence, but not like a discipline. Just, if you can't do it, it's just going to take a lot longer. So there's no blah, blah, blah. Help bust my brat. I called my company BratBusters. There's a funny story behind that. But anyway, it was the teenagers that I was mentoring who kind of came up with that. They said, you're always busting brats. So yeah, they kind of came up with it. And then I thought, it seems a little bit offensive because I don't ever call a kid a brat. So it seems kind of offensive, but I thought anyone who doesn't get that that's funny, I don't want to work with anyway. So. Okay, our 6-year-old daughter calls her dad stupid sometimes. Yeah, I would not allow that. I would put on the behavior board. She's 6 years old. I would say no mean words or no bad words or something, and then say you can't call anyone stupid. So say that's a mean word. And then when she does, there's a consequence. She's doing it. She's walking all over him. It doesn't mean she doesn't love him. She's walking all over him. She's exercising her attitude. You know what she's actually doing? She's screaming for leadership. When they get like that, it's just their call to the wild. Please lead me, lead me. That's what they're doing. Every single teenager I've ever worked with that was in trouble has said this to me in different words. They've all said, I wish my parents had been tougher on me growing up, because they identify they wouldn't be where they are. Like these are the ones who are in real trouble. I wish my parents had been tougher on me growing up. Isn't that interesting? They don't want discipline now, but they equate discipline with love. Also, one of them said to me, I thought this was really interesting. He said, my parents didn't love me enough to make me a good person. Wow. Wow. Fascinating. So they want you to be a leader. They all need, crave, and want leadership. They're not going to ask for it. Oh, by the way, mother and father, can you please be a leader? They're not going to say it like that. They're going to act out like crazy. That's how they ask for it. If you're not a leader for your children at home and you send them out in the world to school and that, they're going to be very vulnerable, very susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You get the idea. They're going to go searching out leadership anywhere else. That's what children who are swayed by peer pressure are looking for, a leader. Those peers have zero influence over them if they've got a leader for a parent, because they tell that leader everything right through the teen years. You're sort of their guiding light. You're sort of the one who keeps them on the straight and narrow. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's the word for that? You're their geyser. No, I always get the word wrong. What's the word when it's the person who is your guiding light? Not a guiding light. What is that? What's that word? Not mentor, but the wisdom, the person that is your common sense. What is that term? I've never been able to come up with that. I know there's a word for that. And then I spend too much time trying to think of what it is, and then I end up moving on. So let's move on, because I've spent too much time trying to think of it. If anyone knows what I'm trying to get at, you're their geyser, their the guiding light, their level, their sugar. Okay. I have a 6-year-old boy, strong-willed. I'm trying to get him to listen. This is lighten yourself on fire. Okay. To listen and not push boundaries. I'm losing my cool, my fifth and hardest. You don't want kids to listen to you. You want them to choose the right thing. There's a difference. If you imply that you want your children to listen to you, you're saying, I want them to follow my orders. I don't do that at all. I guide children to make good decisions, because if they make a bad one, I'm there with the consequence. I'm guiding them into being self-disciplined, so they listen to themselves. They have self-discipline. That's the difference here. I don't want kids who are obedient or anything like that. I don't want that. I don't want to tell kids what to do. How boring. I want them to be self-disciplined. Because they, my daughter said that. I said, why did you kids never get in trouble? And she goes, because we knew if we did, you'd come in with a consequence. That was guaranteed 100% would have happened. I would have come in with a consequence. And also, they didn't want to disappoint me. So it's not that I was telling them what to do or what not to do. They just knew that if they made a poor choice, because I used to tell them, if your good life is good, if your bad life ain't so good, I'll make sure of that, because that's my job. I'm your mom. So yeah, in other words, karma, which I love. I love just, I love fairness. I love all that. I love karma. I love what you put out, you get back. I hate seeing people who are mean or awful get good stuff in their life. It bothers me when I know so many people don't like it. I don't like unfairness. I like just, you know what I mean? So yeah. How do you discipline? Oh, is this Jennifer, the same one? How do you discipline the behavior if they call you stupid, get a consequence, but says, I don't care, whatever? So so in other words, you give them a consequence and then they go, I don't care, whatever. So, okay. Don't react to it. They're just going like this, whatever. It's just a show. They care. They care. They're just not letting you know that. So if they say that, just go, okay, that's good then. Lucky you. Whatever. Okay. Don't react to it. It's like that kid that I say this all the time. Pretty much every live I mention this kid. He was 8 years old. I never met him before. I heard about him. He was a handful. First time I met him, he said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said to him, bring it on. And he never did. Now, if I'd said, well, you shouldn't have, he would have had a fit. I would have lost him right there. So when I said, bring it on, I'm like inviting it. Go for it. I don't care. And he didn't. He was great with me. It was like he went, oh, she knows what she's doing. If you react to that manipulative behavior, they've got you where they want you. Exactly. Don't walk into the trap. I don't care. That's a trap. Yeah. So find a hobby and get them into activities as well. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Get them out there. Throw them out. Like when my kids were, my daughter, she was the one. She was just like magnet to me. And I remember we go to the park and there was other kids around that she didn't want to go play. And I remember once I looked down at her, she was like 3 or something. And I looked down and I said, I'm talking, you go play. And she looked up at me like, okay. She wasn't scared. She wasn't mad. She was just like, okay, mom's not putting up with this. I was watching. She knew she was cared for. She knew I was watching her. But yeah, like I'm talking here, you go play. And she did. She survived. I think that's, I always say she was born easy. They're not all. My son was more normal. He had tantrums and that, but she was particularly even-tempered. She's still to this day, neither one of us really have a temper. Like we've never had tantrums or anything, either one of us. So it's just a temperament that you're kind of born with. So she was pretty easy. But I knew I had to push her to be more independent and confident. That was my drive with her. And I did it. She's confident and independent. So that was my goal for her. You parent them all differently and depending on their basic natures. And that was my daughter. I was going to drive her to be more independent. And she certainly is. Oh, okay. You got a 5-year-old who's mourning the death of a grandmother. That's very normal. It's a grieving process. So kind of give into that, And everyone grieves differently. There is no proper way to grieve. Someone said something to me once and they said, I don't know what happened, but they said, well, you know what you should do. And I said to them, don't preach to me how to grieve. Like, who do you think you are? Like, don't preach it. Yeah, they were pretty embarrassed, but I didn't put up with that. Like, don't tell me how to grieve. Yeah, everyone's different. Everyone grieves differently. Some people cry. Some people stop talking. Some people act out. Everyone grieves differently. Learn so much, affirm so many instincts. Yeah, if you just stop and think that your kids are no different from you, they just communicate it differently. They all have the same feelings, right? It's like if you use a behavior board, a reward chart. I can't stand reward charts for good behavior. It's an insult. Can you imagine if your husband or wife put that one up and they said, you've been really good all day. I'm going to give you a gold star. How patronizing. That's what a reward chart is. It's patronizing. What would you say to your husband if he said that to you? You've been really good today. I'm going to give you a gold star. Them's fighting words, right? So kids are no different from us. They just don't know how to communicate that. They don't really get that it's patronizing. They actually can look excited for getting it. But think about it. You're rewarding them for being good, for being nice. I don't do that. I would never do that because that implies that they're normally rotten. That their nice behavior is just so unbelievable that they got to get an award for it. I would never reward just being nice. That's my baseline expectation. The thing is, everything I talk about, we talk a lot about discipline here, but that's not what I'm all about. I'm really good at connecting with kids and making them feel good about themselves. That's what I'm good at. So when you've got that, then you mix the discipline with it, it works beautifully. So it's not just about disciplining. If you're just going to discipline your kids to try and get good behavior, none of this is going to work. You got to connect and bond with kids. You got to make them like themselves when they're with you. That's what makes all this work. That's my secret sauce. That was my superpower. I know people have asked me, how do you get respect with those troubled teens? And I said, they like themselves when they're with me. If someone makes you feel good about yourself, how do you treat that person? I remember one teen said to me, he said, I didn't like myself till I met you, Lisa. Like, that's probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. That's your superpower. Bring out the best in them. That's the pool story, by the way. The pool story is the whole, it explains everything I teach in that pool story. And it's the first video on here, and it's called Example of Leadership Parenting. Actually, my daughter's made some changes on here. I had pinned it as I think it's the top 3 videos in there. It's called Example of Leadership Parenting, and it's the pool story. I can't tell it now. I've told it too many times. I just can't. but it's in that video. And that's the reason why we posted that video with the pool story, because I've told it a million times, is because I hit every point in that particular telling. Sometimes I'll miss a point and I go, oh, drats, I forgot to mention blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I hit every point in that story. But that explains how I believe you should treat children. You deal with bad behavior, then you focus on the good kid. Okay, 4-year-old boy all of a sudden won't poop in toilet. Poops a little in pants all day long. Just little pellets every so often. Little Hershey's Kisses all day long. You can tell I talk about poop a lot in my business. Anyway, so yeah, there's 3 reasons why kids don't poop in the toilet usually, and it's usually boys. I'd say about 80% boys, 20% girls, maybe around there. I might be fudging that a bit. Get it? Poop joke? Sorry. Anyway, so there's 3 reasons. One is the plop phobia. They've been splashed before. They don't like that. The other one is hanging phobia. They don't like the feeling of pooping and it's hanging and tugging on their intestines. They don't like that. The other one is cold. You know, their butt is cold when they're pooping, right? So this is what you do. You get a little porta potty just for now, temporarily, get a little porta potty, put toilet paper in the bottom so his bum can feel the toilet paper. And while he's pooping, it's sort of smashed up against the bottom of the little potty anyway. And then you can either hike up the heat in the bathroom or you can put a big quilt around him while he's pooping, like a little tent around his body. So yeah, sorry about all that, so graphic. I remember I used to do a lot of TV and radio and that. And like when the old fashioned media stuff was popular, it's like 20 years ago. Anyway, and I was going to be talking about potty training on this morning show. And so they had bought a brand new toilet and put it on stage with me. And when I saw it, and they said, "Oh, Lisa, we bought a toilet for you." I wonder if Oprah ever gets given toilets like for stage. I just thought that was so funny. I mean, it was really cute. But so anyway, yeah, I go on stage with toilets. Classy job. My daughter's 5 years old and she's still crying when she gets dropped off at school. So I'm assuming that's been like September, October, November. So 3 months now she's still crying. Do you drag it out or is something going on at school? So do you drag out the goodbye? Do you get emotionally riled up too? That'll get her riled up. So just go, "You're all right. Goodbye. I'll see you later." You always end like that. It's like pulling off a Band-Aid, make it quick, but you always end on the upturn like that. "See you later," like that. No big deal. Okay. Then when you see her at the end of the day, don't go on and on about it. Just say, "Hi, do you have a good day?" So it's all casual. Keep it casual. But something might be going on at school. It's maybe not separation anxiety. There's something going on at school. So it's either that she's sad that she's leaving you, or something's going on at school she doesn't like. You're going to have to ask the teacher. They often see what's going on. Well, a reward chart doesn't work if you don't know what the problem is. I'm not big on reward charts. Some of my clients will actually use stuff like that. And if it's working, but I'm working on other stuff too, so it sort of balances it out. I'm not big on reward stuff. Okay, I better get going. I got to go over to TikTok now. Check out the link above or BratBusters Parenting, and you'll see my free behavior board, my boot camp course for toddlers, my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. They're very different the way they're laid out. The toddler one is more just reacting to what you're dealing with. I do suggest you read the whole thing though. It'll give you some insight into toddlers and how they think, or they don't think sometimes. So, and then the 3 to 12-year-old one is very different. It's laid out. It's a whole program over 5 weeks. It's kind of all laid out step by step by step. So because the 3 to 12, by the age of 3, they can stop and think before they act. Under 3, not so much. Okay, so I'm heading over to TikTok now if you want to join me over there. And I'm on YouTube the whole time. Okay, happy parenting. Bye now. Okay. Oh, check out my, I'm going to be putting, I think I'm going to put the potty training. I have a mini, sugar, I forgot to move over here. Someone's asking about potty training a 3-year-old. Well, that's not the 3 to 12-year-old course. It's in the toddler course, but the toddler course stops at 3. So I'm just going to tell you what to do. I'm on the wrong one. Darn it. I'm on the wrong channel. I've done that so many times. Just a sec. Yabbering on and I'm losing track of what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to talk to my daughter about it, but I want to put the potty training little mini course also in the 3 to 12-year-old course. but I want it to be understood that they are a little bit older. You're going to have to use your own judgment in how you move forward with it, because in the toddler one, it's designed for a toddler, but you can still use the same process. You just perhaps do a few things differently. Anyway, I'm going to talk to my daughter about that. So yeah, it's a whole potty training is a whole process. It's a whole system, and it's a party, and we use it all like it's all positive. So anyway, okay, I'm just yabbering onto YouTube here. So thanks for joining. I'm Lisa. I'm a mom. What else am I? Oh yeah, I'm a parenting coach. I'm also a grandmother. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So if you go to BratBusters.com, or if you just go to the link above or wherever it is there, you'll see my free behavior board, my boot camp course for toddlers, my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds, and you can look into private coaching. That's one-on-one with me. I'm really booked up right now, but I think I can probably take on another client or two over this weekend. But it's in order of the intake form, whoever's waiting. It's a big lineup for it right now. So I'm going to hopefully get to that this week. We'll see. What happened was, I know I promised I was going to get to you last week, but the clients I was finishing up with, they bought more sessions. And they always get first priority, of course. So the existing clients do. So that's what happened. So sorry about that. I didn't bring on any new clients at all last week. Sorry about that. Oh, I think I did maybe one or two. Okay, let's go. Well, hi Dee. I am still doing the lives. They're just not going to be regularly scheduled. So I'll still be doing them. I don't know what to say about that. It's just we're getting busy, and we have to put our time where people, like, we follow wherever you go. Whatever you go for the most is what we increase. The podcast is going crazy right now. So we're taking the regularly scheduled lives away to put more time into the podcast. So what we're doing is we're helping you, like we're doing what you want. So wherever people go the most is what we grow. Does that make sense? I have a feeling I made no sense whatsoever there. But yeah, as much as I love doing the lives, the podcast is really taking off. So that's where we're putting more time, basically. And they're both free. So it's not like we're making any more money on that. And by the way, I make not 1 cent on TikTok because they don't pay Canadians. They hate us, evidently, the Chinese, because China owns TikTok. And I'm in Vancouver. We love China and Chinese people. For like 50% of our population in Vancouver is Chinese. Why do the Chinese hate us so much? They will not pay us on TikTok. They blacklisted us. I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars on TikTok if they paid. So yeah, I'm making no money on TikTok. Lots of people are making tons. I know people in other countries are using my videos, pretending to be me, and making money off my videos. That's okay. Spread the information. That's okay. I don't mind that. What really bothers me is when there's a lot of imposters out there pretending to be me, and they're taking money but not delivering anything. And then we get the emails then people research it, like we paid for something where you're not delivering anything. And then we get the email. They do some research, find us, and then say, you didn't send us anything. Well, it wasn't us in the first place that you signed up with. I'm BratBusters.com. That is all I am. I'm nothing else. So yeah, I don't have any other names out there on the internet. So be careful with that, because there's a lot of imposters right now. I've got a big following now. That's going to happen. It's just part of it. I can't shut them down. It's impossible. You shut one down, they just open up 20 more, So anyway, just letting you know, just BratBusters.com. It's the only place I have anything. Okay. Are you good at math? How do I answer this? No, I suck at it. Actually, I used to be really good in school, but yeah, after school. And whenever I don't like something, I unlearn it very fast. Isn't that amazing? Like I did well in school, but as soon as I finished the test and whatever, then I unlearned it. It just poof went out of my head. I hate math. You can just ask my accountant. He'll attest to that. Okay, you said your 3-year-old's rough with 1-year-old little brother. He doesn't care about losing toys, etc. Help. Just look on the course, the boot camp course, 3 to 12 years old. There's other things you can do. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it right here. The reason is that it's sort of next level. because people often want to start there, and you don't start there. If they don't care about losing toys or anything, there's other things that we do that I don't like to do, but we can do. If you need to get leverage, so we have to find it other ways. So yeah, that's in the course. I don't like to talk about it here because I don't want anyone starting with that, because it's a bit borderline mean. But if that's all you got to go for it. What was your favorite thing to do with your kids when they were little? Absolutely 100%. We used to call it Make Mommy Laugh nights. And we did it a lot. And we would play little scenes from movies like Ace Ventura, really silly stuff. And then we'd mimic it. And we used to call it Make Mommy Laugh nights. And I'm a real laugher. Once I get giggling, watch out. I love laughing. And so we used to call them Make Mommy Pee nights, because I'd always end up running down the hall wetting my pants because I was laughing so hard. So yeah, Make Mommy Pee nights were my absolute favorite thing with my kids. I'm trying to talk them into doing that again, but my son's 35 and my daughter's 30, and they're not interested anymore. So yeah, that's okay. Okay. Do you do therapy or parenting classes? I need serious help. That would be one-on-one coaching. I'm not a therapist. I have zero qualifications. I'm old and I've got lots of experience. I'm a parenting coach. I work on your relationship with your children. I'm not a marriage counselor, none of that stuff, but I do a lot of it. That's what my clients tell me. I know you're not a marriage counselor, but yeah, thanks for saving our marriage. Because if you're having problems with your marriage because of your kids, I have to work to get you on the same page. So yeah, I deal with crisis. I specialize in crisis work. So teenage stuff and all that. So yeah, lots and lots of stuff goes on. I've seen it all. How do I sign up? There is a wait list for coaching. So go on my website. But if you're truly in crisis, especially if you've got teenagers who are in crisis, I won't go on about it, but you put that down on the form, put down crisis. And no, 2-year-olds having tantrum is not crisis. It's more the real serious stuff. So put that down and you will go ahead of the rest if it's real serious stuff. My existing clients always come first, then crisis work is right after that. Because a lot of my existing clients re-sign, get more sessions. Anyway, that's just the way I run it. I have a 2-year-old daughter. Is it too late that I will teach her third language? The problem when you teach them languages when they're little is they tend to mix them all up. But then they eventually, by the time they're 3 or 4, they can actually speak fluently in several different languages. So I've heard. But yeah, when they're really little, they'll pick the favorite words for all these different languages. That's what I've heard they do. So if the parents don't know all the languages, then it can be trouble. But a lot of my clients have, 2 languages. I'd love to tell you what one of them does. I can't. I haven't asked permission. If I'm talking about a client, I've asked permission. Even though I don't use names, I always ask permission. But yeah, one of them is doing something interesting with languages. So I can't. I'll ask next time I talk to this client. I'll ask if I can talk about it. It's quite cute. Okay. Oh, I think what you do is awesome. So I'm sorry this app doesn't pay you. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I just mentioned that because if you can talk to China and tell them that Canadians are nice, be nice. I don't know why they hate us. Yeah, don't worry about me. I'm fine. Actually, I started here. I've been doing my business for like 17 years, but I really only started on social media 2 years ago. And I started on TikTok. And my daughter kept telling me, Mom, you got to go on TikTok. And I said, what? I'm not a 12-year-old dancer. And that's all that was on there, I thought. So I went on TikTok. I blew up overnight on TikTok. I couldn't believe it. And now my daughter is working with me full time. She does all my social media marketing. So yeah, TikTok has been very good to me. So yeah, don't feel bad for me. Okay. What's your advice on getting a 3-year-old to listen? I always say we're not getting them to listen. We're getting them to do the right thing on their own. There's a big difference between the two. So yeah, check out my bootcamp course. That's sort of, if you just want, the free version is the behavior board. That's the training wheels. If you want to go to the next level, go to the bootcamp course. The top level is one-on-one coaching with me. So, but I've got a big wait list right now. But anyway, so yeah, but you might just need the bootcamp course. But you're not getting kids to listen to you. You're getting kids to do the right thing. Because if they don't, you come in with a consequence. You're teaching them how to be accountable and how to be responsible. That's what this is all about. That's why my kids never said, I hate you or anything. They had nothing to rebel against. I wasn't telling them what to do. I don't want obedient soldiers here. I want self-disciplined kids who make good choices. A big difference between the two. Huge. Yeah, that would be more the authority style parenting. I don't do that. I don't believe in I don't talk about that parenting style. No, I don't use that at all. That's not me at all. And I don't really know anything about it. I've never really studied any parenting method. I've never read a book on parenting or kids or look at anybody else out there. So if I'm ever criticizing anything, I'm not criticizing anyone because I don't know who else is out there. I'm very careful because it does nothing for me to see who else, what they're teaching. Because everything I've learned through kids. I went right to the source. So everything I've learned is through kids. They taught me all this. So yeah, it would be of no benefit for me to see what anyone else is talking about. I'd probably just go, what, are you kidding me? Because I've got my own style, right? And I got some training, but I never used any of it. I had my own style. And that it's not for everybody. That'd be ridiculous if I was. That's ridiculous. We're all different, right? But if I resonate with you, I got a lot of experience. I've had a lot of success with working with kids and raising them and my clients, but it might not be a good fit for you. I say it like it is. I'm very blunt. And it might not be your style. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. There's room for all of us. How many kids do you have? I only have 2 kids, boy and a girl. I would have liked more, but after my son, I had to have back surgery because the cracked the spine coming out because it was already fractured. And then my daughter caused arrhythmia. I had to have heart surgery after her. I was told after my son to not get pregnant again. And I also had a miscarriage in between them. So I was lucky I shot 2 kids out. So anyway, yeah, they're 35, my son, and he's got a little daughter now. So I'm a grandma, and my daughter's 30. My daughter's my business partner. She tells me what to do. We do our podcast together if you're interested. I don't really know anything about podcasts, but yeah, we've got a new podcast. We've been doing it for 2 months now, and it's taking off. So much to our surprise, you never know. And we do whatever we do, we're doing as a result of you requesting it. So we're very transparent here. There's nothing fancy or sophisticated about what our business is. It's mother-daughter. I'm the coach. I'm the product. She's the driver. She drives everything in the business. And we just are reacting to you. So if you want us to do something, tell us. And if enough people ask for something, but they have asked for more podcasts. So we're doing 2 podcasts a week now. So yeah, we're just very transparent here. We're just serving you. So whatever you tell us you want, that's what we do. The name of the podcast, it's BratBusters Parenting. It's everywhere, Spotify, Apple. I don't know. It's all the platforms. It's also on our website. And if you go on YouTube, you can see us on video, my daughter and I. Do you know, I was just thinking about the last, where do we listen to the podcast? It's on all the platforms. And it's also on YouTube and it's on my website. So you can see it everywhere, BratBusters.com. And the name of the podcast is BratBusters Parenting. Do you know the worst the worst coaching advice I ever got was years and years ago when I was first starting my business. They said, make sure you never get emotionally involved in your clients. Now, I said to them, but I run an emotional business. And I said, how on earth could I not get emotionally involved in my and I do. I'm pretty good. I still try and keep on track, but I do get upset sometimes. And but it was the dumbest thing I ever heard. I'm in the caring field. How on earth can you be in the caring field and not get emotionally involved? I just thought that was the dumbest thing. I do get emotionally involved, and I make no apologies for that. What days of the week do you drop the podcast? I know we do it every Tuesday morning. That's the one we've been doing for 2 months. And I think my daughter's going to be dropping it on Thursdays also. I'm not sure. It'll be on the website. She does all that stuff. I just do what I'm told. So, oh man, your daughter is beautiful. I just saw the podcast picture. You know what's fascinating? I guess she knows she is, but she has never used her looks in her whole life. She's all brains. She's all personality. She's never used her looks ever. Isn't that interesting? If I looked like her, I would. Yeah, I would. But yeah, no, she is very pretty, but plus I never pushed it either. I said, you're just lucky you're born pretty. You never take pride in that. You be grateful for that. And I told my son, he was born gifted. And I said, never be proud of that. You just be grateful for that. Never be proud of the gifts you were given. Be grateful. Be proud of who you are and how you treat people. Be proud of your efforts and what you put out into the world. So that's why I think I never ever focused on her looks. Yeah. Yeah, I heard you talk about your kids for years, but never seen them. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever see my son. He's not in the business, and I'm very private about my personal life. But my daughter's my business partner. So I was shocked that she agreed to do the podcast with me. She hates being in front of the camera. She doesn't like talking about herself at all. So she's doing the podcast with me. So I'm shocked when she goes, someone has to be feeding you the questions. And she says, I'll do it. And I was like, whoa, wow. I was shocked. So yeah. She's more reserved. She, not with me, obviously, but when she's out in public, she's more reserved. But she's starting to loosen up. I can see the difference. She's just more private. I'm not. I'm kind of an open book. But yeah, she's more private. I totally respect that. Yeah, podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, so this is from Yari. You've been here before, I think. I recognize that name. How do you deal with a 15-month-old that wants to be held and throws an extreme tantrum and tries aggressively climbing up or clinging to you? Okay, just say, oh, okay. Well, there's so many different ways you could do it. I don't know where you are. Like, are they safe if they drop to the ground? If you're on carpeting or somewhere they're going to be safe, you just say, no, you're okay. I'm going to go do the dishes, and just sort of wander off slowly and do something. But don't say no. Don't make a big deal out of what they're doing. Just sort of treat it like, oh, okay, I'm going to go do the dishes now. If they're climbing on you, oh, you're all right. Oh, here you go. Try and use diversion because they're still little. Here's a book. You can do this. Okay, and I'll be right back. Always say you'll be right back. They don't know time. I'll be right back. Might be an hour. Coming right back, and then go do the dishes or whatever. Be nearby, though. But yeah, don't make a big deal out of it. Just treat it like it's nothing. I remember my kids, I remember making a fort, and I made it over the dining room table, put tons of blankets over top. And then I don't know which kid it was, but anyway, and then I said, okay, so, and I just remembered, because I wanted to go read a book. And I thought, I just remembered grown-ups aren't allowed in forts. I think it was my daughter. And then she goes, oh, okay. And then she went happily played in there for like an hour while I went and read a book. Grown-ups aren't allowed in forts. Good one, eh? Okay, what are your thoughts on curse words? I never swore around my kids. I swear like crazy now. My kids are grown. I can do whatever I want. It's funny, I never swore before, but swearing's in songs and everywhere now. But I still, my go-to is sugar. If I'm mad, if I'm really mad, I say flugen. I made that up. That's my swear word, flugen. So if I, like we used to play ping pong, and if I got hit in the eyeball or something, I'll flugen. So, but yeah, this was funny. I was in an elevator once, and there was this kind of a tough looking woman. They looked real street, kind of cool. You know what I mean? And I dropped something in the elevator, and it was where I live. And I dropped something in the elevator, and I went, oh, sugar. And her and her friend, they were real cool, kind of tougher. And they both looked at me like that. And I go, oh, I meant shit, the bad word. And I said, oh, I just, slipped with sugar. And they said, yeah, we don't think so. But how embarrassing was that? Because I've worked with kids for so many years that I just got used to never swearing. So yeah, I don't like it with kids. I never swore in front of my kids ever. But I didn't swear anyway, so. How to become a leader as a parent. Okay, now check out my website, BratBusters.com, if you want to know more about how to do it. We're just doing snippets here, right? You're not getting the whole package here. It's just snippets because it's a whole process, how to be a leader. But what did you say that I want to comment on? Because you said, I've never been the leader type. I'm a follower in my personal life. I'm not a leader in my personal life. I have no interest in it. Boring. I don't want to know where. I don't want to plan anything. I don't want to know where I'm going. You just tell me when to be ready, what to wear, and I'll be there. So I'm not a leader at all. That's in my inner circle. I'm not not a follower with anyone I don't like or care about. You know what I mean? It's only my inner circle I'm like that with, but I'm very much a follower. So in my personal life, I'm not a leader. Okay. Only in business or in with kids, I'm a leader. So, but yeah, not in my personal life. Actually, that's not true. In business, my daughter's the leader. So yeah, you don't have to be a leader to be a parenting leader. It's totally different. I remember my son said to me once, he was about 20, and he goes, "You're so different." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well," he said, I don't know how he worded it though. It was basically, "You're not a leader anymore." And I said, "Well, I'm all finished. You're all grown." But I remember he literally said that. He like, basically, "You're not a leader anymore." "Well, I'm done. You're all grown up." It's funny. I remember that. So you don't have to be a leader in your personal life. The reason why I'm so strong about in my belief in children need a leader is because children need a leader. They desperately crave and want a leader. It's a natural instinct for a child to want someone to look up to want someone to guide them. They're kids. They need someone to guide them along the way. So that's why I'm very passionate about children and their needs, and they need a leader. So I make no apologies for being a leader with kids, because I'm meeting their needs, which is leadership. Yeah, a lot of my clients say that. "Well, it's easy for you because you're a leader." No, you don't know me in my personal life. You wouldn't say that. So not at all. So yeah, don't worry about that. That comes up quite often, actually. Have you had a define a leader for your child? What would you say it was? Oh, a leader makes them feel good about themselves, and they make good choices as a result of that. In other words, their self-esteem. A leader makes them feel good about themselves, and they make good choices because of that. That's a leader. That's what a leader does. Have you ever had a mentor who makes you feel great? How do you treat that person? Aren't you at your best around that person? Don't they bring out the best in you? A leader brings out the best in kids. When kids are acting out, I know that the parent isn't a leader. It's impossible. It's impossible. So yeah, that's the difference. You bring out the best in your kids, and they're happy. Plus, I'm very vulnerable. Like if I mess up, boy, my kids were on that like a shot. "Mom, you messed up." "Oh, drats, what do you want?" So I made amends. You have to be accountable. You show them how this is done. Okay. This is Gork Lord. "She taught me to take a breath and not fall into these toxic cycles our parents taught us helps us." I don't know if you're talking about me or whatever, but I just want to address the toxic cycles. I don't know. By the way, all your parents did the best they knew how. No one's handed a baby in the hospital and says, "I'm going to mess you up." They all do the best they know how. Okay. So good intentions. I'm just defending them. But anyway, you're not your parents. You are not your parents. You're different. You're a whole different person. You don't have to parent the same way you were parented. But a lot of us do fall into that trap. I was pretty lucky. I got really nice parents. I was never yelled at or anything. I think they should have been stricter for sure. But I always felt very respected and very heard, always. So that was easy for me to do that with kids too. But yeah, you're not your parents. Okay, I got to get going. I got stuff to do. Anyway, check out the BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board, my boot camp course for toddlers, my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into one-on-one coaching with me. I do have a wait list, and I will get to that hopefully this week. I don't know. I know I promised last week I was going to take on a bunch of new clients, but what happened was a lot of existing clients re-signed up for more sessions. So they always get first priority. So that's why. So I wasn't lying. It wasn't my fault. It just happened. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and happy Saturday. If it's Saturday where you are, I get a lot of people around the world. It might be Sunday. Like I lived in Australia for many years. It's tomorrow there. So anyway, happy parenting. Have a good night or day. Bye now.